We play.
We fight.
We conquer.
Welcome to the Freak Show, where our one rule is make the right choice. I am your host today, Bumpy McSquigums, and Baldur's Gate 3 is an epic adventure that you guys can go check out if you want to see a four-person co-op adventure happening in Baldur's Gate 3. It's already live and available on the channel Mondays and Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern. New episodes are going up. And yeah, we're having a blast. We're having a lot of fun playing it. And I want to tell you guys a little bit more before we get into what the actual video is all about. Apologies if this drives anyone nuts. I promise I'll keep it as brief as I can here. I came up with this really, really brilliant, also incredibly stupid idea. And that is, instead of us going, all right, we're going to need a tank, we're going to need DPS, we're going to need spells, we're going to need heals, and come up with like the perfect, most immaculate group imaginable for our adventures in Baldur's Gate 3. I said, guys, I got a real dumb idea. Instead of doing with a smart thing, what if we all just create a character that we want, not discuss anything with anyone else, and see what happens? We just show up with our characters in the game, and we make it work. And that's what we did. Nobody talked me out of it. They said, you're talking to the wrong group. Let's do it. And I'm like, all right. So that's how our adventure began. So you'll see a bit of character creation, because we did go through that whole process on camera without spoiling anything. From to one another. We didn't spoil any of what was going on, so we had no indication at all, like legit, what anybody else was going. I kind of went back and forth a bunch. I didn't get the class that I really wanted to play, but it worked out. I think it worked out okay. So you guys have to go check that out, watch it, and hopefully you enjoy. Hopefully you enjoy the adventure. But today, this video right here, I promised while we were making the characters there, I would come back and we would do a much more in-depth look at the character creation style of things. So let's do that. I said I've rambled and babbled enough. Let's get into the point of the video, and that is to look at all the various characters, classes, races, and subclasses, and skills, and all the other things that we can possibly look at. We're going to skip all the other things.
Who are you?
I am amazing too. I am. No. All right, so first up, custom character. That's what we're going to spend the vast majority of our time in. Other heads up for you guys, if you're playing by yourself or with up to 3 people, you'll still be able to get to experience some of the companions coming along on the adventure with you. And I think that's pretty cool. That's one thing that we're going to be missing in our 4-person co-op, is we don't actually get to bring any of the companions with you. However, you could also play as said companions. And honestly, I think that has a lot of merit itself. And I would say if you guys were to play a 4-person co-op version of the game, maybe all 4 of you pick a different character of these origin characters and try that out, because I think that would be chef's kiss. I think it'd be really, really good. I also am very happy that we did custom characters, and I think your second playthrough you should do custom characters, but we're going to miss out on a lot of the companion stuff, I think. We'll see how it goes. I don't know how it's going to be worked in, since they're not actually going to be a part of what we're doing. So that's just a caveat there. But origin characters. We have various origin characters here. It looks like 7 as a total here. We have Astarion. After 200 years serving a cruel master, the vampires spawn Astarion is finally free. Free to walk in the sun, free to chase power, and free to take revenge. And apparently there's an introduction. I'm not going to do that right now, guys and gals. Maybe at the end we'll do the introduction as the final closeout. Maybe we can do something like that. And you can see over here, you got simple weapons, you have armor skills, you have your various stats. +3 to initiative, and +10 HP. Sorry, it starts at 10 HP. That's what he's got. And then he's got cantrips and so on and so forth. So you can kind of see what your character is going to be, what he's going to have once you start building it out. So as we do the various things over here on the left, this is going to change the stuff over here on the right. From weapon proficiencies and armor usage to all your various other skills like acrobatics, sleight of hand, stealth, and so on and so forth. So I'm not going to go into a lot of the details right here on these characters, but you guys can see them all over there, and then when we cover them when we're in the custom character, you'll be able to kind of put it together what everything is. But very cool. Like I said, I like the kind of the summary over here, what's going on. And that's really cool. We have Lae'zel, and she's an interesting character. I do I do like her, but she's pretty abrasive. It's fine. She's she's the first character that you actually see and or meet. So good stuff. All right, so we take a look. We have all the stats over here, all the various different things, and she is a level 1 fighter of the Githyanki group. This is a high elf rogue. We have Gale, the human wizard, and his lovely purple Go Gale, and you see all the various different things over here. Then you have Shadowheart, and again, all these characters are voiced all the way through, and they have their own unique ideas and concepts and stuff. So. Very, very cool to play around and hang out and just do stuff with companions because, you know, they have the most life breathed into them out of all of it. So Shadowheart is a high half-elf, apparently, cleric. And I guess Shar is the deity? Probably the deity. Nobody else has a deity yet, right? Okay, so then we go over down here to... We have Will, who is a human warlock, and you can see his various different things there. Nothing too fancy. I believe the star is your primary ability, so you'll see here dexterity, strength, intelligence, wisdom, and then finally we were down to charisma, and then we have Karlak. Oh, she is lovely. She is lovely. She is a Zariel Tiefling, a level 1 barbarian, to start off. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. And apparently she also has cantrips, which is interesting for a barbarian to have cantrips. All right, I was going to read these little things. We'll read them in a second after we see the characters. And then finally, the Dark Urge, which just looks like a weird lizard. He is a white dragonborn, level 1 sorcerer, charisma. And you see the various cantrips, spells, and actions. The least in the way of proficiencies, too. Very interesting. All right, let's take a look. So Astarion, we read about. Lae'zel was raised ready for a life amongst the stars, mercilessly conquering the cosmos as a Githyanki soldier. Grounded, she must deal with a world she doesn't understand and find a way to serve her people in a plane that despises her militant kin. I can't be good. Then we have Gale. Gale's wizarding prowess once earned him the love of Mystra, the goddess of magic, until his ambition led him to the brink of catastrophe. Shadowheart willingly undertook a ritual to remove her memories in order to protect the secrets of her fellow Shar worshippers. Loss and pain are sacred to her, but her faith is now being tested like never before. Will, known as the Blade of Frontiers, Will uses his magic to fell the monsters and devils menacing the Sword Coast. In a moment of desperation, he accepted an offer of greater power, forcing him into an infernal game he is struggling to play. Karlak has escaped 10 years of service in the Hells with nothing but the axe on her back and the infernal engine blazing furiously where her heart used to be. Okay. And finally, the Dark Urge. You remember nothing but a path paved with blood. Unimaginable cruelty whispers to you from within. Can you escape it? Would you even want to? Your appearance and class can be fully customized. Oh, that's pretty sweet. And is that just for the Dark Urge? It is. So I guess the Dark Urge is a customizable, it's like a bonus custom origin. And then you got the different body types down here. Oh, cool. I don't think you have no other way of customizing these, but the Dark Urge is like a bonus secret customizable character. I'm guessing. Again, I don't 100% know everything. We're literally just going through the character creation at this point. I'm like roughly 4 hours into the game at this point, so I do not have a tremendous amount of knowledge about every in and out. So just bear that in mind. Bear that in mind. All right, so we're going to go back to the custom character. We'll go to Astarion, and then we're going to go here. Just so we, so that's another thing you can do, right? We have a half-elf rogue high-elf rogue as our starting one, right? So you're like, oh, I kind of like him, but I'd rather do a custom character. If you go to him first, and you go back to custom, you're going to essentially have a blank slate with him and all of his stuff set into it. There's a randomize appearance button at the bottom. So you can do that. There's also body type. So you can change your body type. And there's 4 different ones. It's like smaller female form, smaller male form, larger female form, larger male form. And then you can also randomize. If you don't know what to play and you're like, you know what, I'll play whatever they throw my way. You can actually go in and just randomize and just get whatever they want to throw at you. Which, again, I think that's kind of a neat thing to do. Maybe that's a challenge we can do down the line. I don't know, because I think this is going to take us like 500 hours to play through, which is fine. But I don't know that we're going to be super eager to dive back in and do random characters. Maybe. But yeah, you can do a randomized character if you don't really know how to start or what you want to do. Again, you can start with any of the origin characters. You can just randomize entirely. And say you're going to randomize, you're like, you know what, I like that guy from 2 turns ago. You can actually go back. And likewise with the appearance, you can randomize the appearance. And be like, you know what, I kind of like the last guy. There we go, we're going to go with him. That's cool. Or her, or whatever, right? So, yeah. Very cool. I'm glad that you have that ability. And say you're like, well, I kind of like her. But you know what? I'm going to go with the next one. You can actually go forward as well. So you can go back and forth. I think that's great. I think that's a really, really good thing to have. All right. Let's get into it for realsies now. So the origin's going to be custom. You need to choose your body type first. You don't have to really play with the appearance yet. But whether you want to be small or large, basically. That's kind of what you need to do. Then you go into the various races. And we'll start with Elf. With ethereal countenances and long lifespans, elves are at home with nature's power, flourishing in light and dark alike. We have the tieflings, and then, of course, there are various racial features. I guess we'll go through that, race features here. Base racial speed, you move 9 meters per turn. Didn't even know that was a thing. You have elven weapon training. You have a proficiency with the longsword, short bow, and longbow, just by default, based off of your race alone. Dark vision, you can see up to 12 meters in the dark. Fey ancestry, you have advantage on saving throws against being charmed, and magic cannot put you to sleep. Then we have the tieflings. A lot of people really, really like the tieflings. Again, you can randomize a bit if you want. And there is quite the variety of characters. Oh, it's kind of creepy. All right. So 9 per 12. They have dark vision as well. Hellish resistance. You have resistance to fire damage, taking only half damage from it. We have the drow, or as some people like to say, the dro. But hold on, let's read the tieflings here. Descended from devils of the 9 hells, tieflings face constant suspicion in Faerun. Thankfully, their arcane abilities make them natural survivors. Okay, then we go into the dro, or the drow, as I prefer to say it. Driven to the Underdark, most drow have adopted a ruthless pragmatism. While the Lolth-sworn delight in the goddess's evil tenets, the Seldarine reject her attempt to overthrow the leader of the Elven Pantheon. Just be aware, I'm going to probably butcher like 80% of what we're needing to say here. Just go with it. It's fine. Again, 9. Proficiency for the drow is rapier, short sword, and hand crossbow. Dark vision, but not just dark vision, superior dark vision. Double that of what the other races have at 24 meters. And also Fey ancestry, charmed, no, and saving advantage on saving throws against charmed, and can't be put to sleep. Human, often considered the lamest of races by many people. They're fine. The most common face in Faerun, humans are known for their tenacity, creativity, and endless capacity for growth. We got 9 meters, civil militia. This is essentially their proficiency. Pikes, spears, halberds, glaives, and armor proficiency with light and shields. And then human versatility, select an additional skill to be proficient in. Your carrying capacity is increased by 1/4. Interesting. Then we're going over here to the Githyanki, or Githyanki. I think I prefer Yankee. It's fine. With a ruthlessness born from mind flayer enslavement, Githyanki ride the astral sea atop red dragons, bringing their silver swords and psionic might to bear against any trace of the Illithid menace. And we get an ancestral knowledge bonus. Gain proficiency in all skills of a chosen ability. Okay. And that's until long rest. Interesting. They have cantrips. The Githyanki or Githyanki psionics, Mage Hand. You just automatically get Mage Hand. Okay, create an invisible spectral hand that can manipulate objects. Cool, cool, cool. And actual features, the 9 meters per turn, and martial prodigy. So this talks about weapons and armor. All right, lifetime of relentless training gave you armor proficiency with light and medium, as well as short sword, long sword, and great sword. Then the dwarf, many would say, are the greatest of races. I happen to like the dwarves quite a lot. I like halflings. I like elves a little bit. Usually half elves I prefer over full elves. And I'm a fan of, kind of a fan of gnomes and half orcs too. I don't know. I haven't really seen much in the Dragonborn era yet, so I don't know. Not really a big fan of drow, humans or whatever. Elves are kind of, and again, tiefling and Githyanki, not really something I'm that familiar with. So, dwarf, as durable and unyielding as their homes of stone. Dwarves are some of the finest warriors, miners, and smiths of Faerun. Ooh, oh no, I got stubby legs, therefore I move shorter. Well, you'll see what we ended up rolling. I played Neverwinter Nights all the way through from beginning to end, along with Sword Coast Legends. So I have played some Dungeons and Dragons, Wizards of the Coast based games. So I am familiar with quite a bit of stuff, but not everything. And I've not actually ever got a chance to play a Dungeons and Dragons tabletop pen and paper type thing. So apologies if I am wrong in anything. But when I did play Neverwinter Nights, beat the whole thing, all DLCs included, I played as a dwarven barbarian, and I loved it. It was great. So I have an affinity for dwarves. All right, so we're a little bit stubby-legged. We can't run quite as far or as fast. Battle axe, hand axe, light hammer, and war hammer. Sure, it makes sense. Shouldn't I also have armor? Okay. Dark vision, can see up to 12. And we have advantage on saving throws against poison and resistance to poison damage. We've got a half elf. So these are usually half elves with human and elves, right? Curious, ambitious, and versatile half elves are welcome everywhere, but struggle without a community to call their own. Again, 9 meters per turn. Spears, pikes, halberds, and glaives. Light armor and shields. They have dark vision to 12, and advantage on saving throws against charmed and magic. Putting people to sleep. No. All right, then we got the halflings. Small yet capable halflings prefer the comforts of home and hearth. Not hearth, but hearth. And their natural luck and dexterity makes them fine adventurers. You can move 7.5. Again, stubbies. Got it. Lucky. When you roll a 1 for an attack roll, ability check, or saving throw, you can re-roll the die and must use the new roll. I mean, that's fine. You have an advantage on saving throws against being frightened. Fearless little halflings, all right? Gnomes are pretty fun. They're supposed to be smaller than halflings. I don't know if it tells us anywhere, like the height, but gnomes should be smaller than halflings. Small, clever, energetic gnomes use their long lives to explore Faerun's brightest corners and darkest depths. So we got 7.5 stubby, and we've got intelligence, wisdom, charisma saving throws we have advantage on. The Dragonborn, a proud race that values clan and skills above all else. Once enslaved by dragons, they strive to be self-sufficient, not wanting to be beholden to anyone, not even the gods. And they've got no racial bonuses, just they can move further. And then half-orc. Let's see what some half-orcs look like here. All right. Cool. Creatures of intense emotion. Half-orcs are more inclined to act than contemplate, whether the rage burning their bodies compels them to fight, or the love filling their hearts inspires acts of incredible kindness. 9 meters per turn. You can see up to 12. The dark, relentless endurance. If you reach 0 hit points, you regain 1 hit point instead of becoming downed. Cool. And savage attacks. When you land a critical hit with a melee weapon, attack, your damage dice are tripled instead of doubled. Oh, that's sick. I would be a half-orc barbarian if I had free reign and I knew the rest of the group would be covered. That would be what I'd run. All right, so we kind of got to see all the races, right? I don't know if some of the classes will be locked off from each race, probably. So we're going to have to kind of play around. We'll look at what's available for the sub-races of each thing and so on and so forth. So we're going to go through some more stuff here. So for the High Elf, there are 2 different sub-races. Heirs of the mystical Feywild, High Elves value magic in all of its forms, and even those who do not study spellcraft can manipulate the weave. We have a High Elf cantrip, Firebolt. That's pretty useful, actually. That's actually very useful. Firebolt would be very, 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 very useful in the game. Highly recommend. Firebolt. Get it. Sorry. Wood Elf. These elves spend their reclusive lives in Faerun's forests. Decades of training in archery and camouflage are enhanced by an otherworldly swiftness. They get to move 1.5 meters more. So instead of the typical 9, 10.5. Very cool. We go back up to raise Tiefling. We have the Asmodeus Tiefling. Bound to Nessus, the deepest layer of the hells. These Tieflings inherited the ability to wield fire and darkness from the archdevil Asmodeus' infernal bloodline. And you get Produce Flame Conjuration cantrip. A flame in your hand sheds a light and a 9-meter radius deals 1 to 8 fire damage when thrown. Very cool. Hey, my symbol just popped in there. Neat. Mephistopheles? Mephistopheles. There we go. Got it. Descended from the archdevil Mephistopheles. Sure. These tieflings are gifted with a particular affinity for arcane magic. Mephistopheles. Sure. Zariel Tiefling. Tieflings from Zariel's bloodline are empowered with martial strength and can channel searing flame to punish their enemies. Thaumaturgy. Gain advantage on intimidation and performance checks. And, sorry, we had Mage Hand, which creates a spectral hand that can manipulate and interact with objects. So, kind of cool. All right, Tieflings, gone. We're going to the Drow. We have the Lolth Sworn Drow, raised by Lolth's cult in the city of, oh my god, Menzo Baranzan? Sure. These Drow embody the virtues of their corrupt and merciless goddess. Lolth marks her followers with bright red eyes, so those in the Underdark will learn to fear them on sight. We have you don't have the red eyes. I guess that's fine. Alright, Seldarine Drow can be found seeking allies from all over Faerun, aiming to settle their conflict with Lolth and each other by any means necessary. And no advantages for either one of them. Alright, the humans. Humans don't have subclasses. They're just humans. Same thing with the Githyanki. Or Githyanki. But the dwarves. The dwarves are here. We have the gold dwarves. These dwarves are known for their confidence and keen intuition. The culture of their deep kingdom values family, ritual, and fine craftsmanship. Dwarven toughness, your hit point maximum increases by 1, and increases by 1 again every time you gain a level. Alright, that's cool. We have the Shield Dwarf. Great losses in ancient wars against goblins and orcs had led these dwarves to adopt a cynical mindset. But they will endure anything to restore their ancestral homelands. And they have armor proficiency with light and medium armor. Then we have the Duragar. Once enslaved by the Eldritch Mind Flayers, Duragar adapted to freedom with harsh practicality. Their cold demeanors and gift of stealth are well known throughout the Underdark. Superior Dark Vision up to 24. Very nice. Rivaling the Drow. And resilience, you have advantage on saving throws against illusions and against being charmed or paralyzed. Very cool. Back to the half-elves. There are sub-races here. 3 of them, in fact. That's cool. So all 3. Okay. Cool. A touch of the Feywilds remains in half-elves with this bloodline, and even those untrained in the magic possess the hint of the wild power. We got our Firebolt back. The Wood Elf has the extra 1.5 movement, so this is the same as all the ones that we saw before. Like their Wood Elf parent, these half-elves have a quickened stride and an eye for stealth. Yet many break away from isolation in Faerun's forest to explore the rest of the realms. And the Drow with Dancing Light cantrip. Huh. That's different. Most half-drow result from liaisons between Seldarine drow and surfacers. While half-drow inherited a few magical gifts, they aren't usually raised in the Underdark. So this is their way of countering that. Makes sense. Alright, we're going to halflings, and then we got a couple of halflings here. The Lightfoot halflings, stealthy but social, these halflings travel all over Faerun to make names for themselves. They are naturally stealthy and have advantages on stealth checks. If I were to run a rogue, it would be a halfling rogue. That's always been a thing for me. The idea of a halfling rogue is cool. Or I don't mind the idea of a human rogue. I'm actually okay with both of those. Those would be my preferences of rogues, just so you know. Feel free to, by the way, like, this is going to take a while. We're going through a lot of stuff here. I would love it if you guys just kind of threw random stuff at me in the comment section, just like, oh, my favorite class and combination would be this, or the build I would like to go with would be this, or this is my party's whatever, right? You know, you're going to have all 4 characters created or whatever, and you want to go with that. So it's just like, seriously, let me know what you guys are thinking, because I would love to hear various different combinations where I'm like, oh, I never thought of that. I think it'd be really, really cool. So, you know, scream at me in the comments. It'd be great. All right, strong, there we go. Strong heart elves, no, halflings here. Legend has it that the dwarven blood gave strong hearts their hardiness. Resistant to poison and well springs of endurance, these halflings can easily hold their own. Advantages of saving, against poison. Cool, so interesting. So halflings mixed with dwarves or some such thing. Interesting. All right, we got gnomes. We got the rock forest and deep gnomes. Let's randomize some gnomes here. Ooh. Let's do a different body type for the gnomes. Interesting. I like it. All right, cool. The most commonly seen gnomes on Faerun's surface, rock gnomes, are named as such for their hardiness and affinity for metal. Dark vision, and they've got Artificer's Lore. Add twice your proficiency bonus to history checks. Cool. We got forest gnomes, even smaller than their cousins and twice as reclusive. Forest gnomes are a rare sight in Faerun. They master magic and craftsmanship in their distant, idyllic groves. They can speak with animals. Cool. And also dark vision. And finally, the deep gnome. The deepest of gnomes. Lovely. More guarded than their surface cousins, deep gnomes survive in the Underdark with dark vision and skillful stealth. Skillful is spelled wrong, I think. There should be 2 L's. Superior dark vision and stone camouflage. Advantage on stealth checks. Very cool. All right, back to the Dragonborn. And you know there's there's a whole bunch, boys and girls. Get ready for it. It's coming. All right, despite no ancestral links to the mighty creatures, these Dragonborn share their charcoal coloration and fizzling, acrid breath of black dragons. Cool. Acid breath and draconic ancestry. The blood of ancient dragons flows through your veins. You are resistant to acid damage. I should look at these slightly more. 2d12. Sorry, 2d6, 2 to 12 damage. Spew forth a cone of acid. Alright, so I like this. I know a lot of people might not like this. I like this a lot. It's very easy to understand what a skill or spell does, or could do, right? With the 2 to 12 damage at a glance. I still like that they've also included what the actual die are, because, we're playing Dungeons and Dragons, right? So I like that there's 2d6, but what does that mean? Maybe people don't fully understand what a 2d6 means. I know it's pretty basic, pretty common, pretty easy to understand. But maybe you've never played a game that uses actual dice roll to determine stuff. And you're like, 2d6, what does that mean? That means I can do, you can figure it out, but you can just be like, oh, right, I do 2 to 12. That's going to be the range. The minimum I'm going to do is roll 1 on 2 dice. The maximum I can roll 6 on 2 dice. 2 to 12. I'm somewhere in that range. I like that they have that. I think that's great, and it's going to, again, make Dungeons and Dragons more accessible to people. And just easier to understand to, again, folks that might not understand what a 2d6 means. Or if they do, they're not very quick at doing so. All right, now we got Blue Dragonborn. Despite no ancestral links to the mighty creatures, I think this is good. I'm just going to read the... Share the deep sapphire scales and charged crackling breath of blue dragons. I'm just going to read that part. Lightning breath, again, instead of the acid. And then resistant to lightning damage. All right, so this is going to be kind of the same. Burnished ochre hue? I don't know how to say that word. I'm pretty sure I looked it up and it's ochre, but I could be completely wrong. I'm sorry. Make fun of me in the comments, guys. Go for it. And flickering fiery breath of brass dragons. So we got fire breath and we got resistance to fire. Bronze is shining sepia scales and sparkling breath of bronze dragons. Wait, what? Oh, right. Brass dragons is what we were before. Bronze this time. Okay. Lightning breath and, of course, lightning damage. Copper's back to acid. I'm not even going to read this anymore. Gold is fire. Green is poison. Did we have poison before? No, green's the first poison. Interesting. Red, of course, is fire again. Silver is frost breath. That's pretty sweet. And white is also frost. Very, very cool. It's great. All right, sorry. And finally, the half-orcs that do not have any sub-races. All right, so we've kind of gone through all of the stuff. So we're going to go back to elf. I'm just going to leave it on high elf. I want to check the classes real quick. So there's what? 4 by 3, so there's 12 classes available. Is that available for everyone? It looks like it is. I'm sorry. I know I should be saying some stuff. Hold on. Oh, there we go. I'm like, I lost the classes. Is there a possibility that something can't be a class? I thought there was definitely that was going to be a potential thing. Okay, so it looks like every race can be every class. So I don't know. What do you guys? Let's get some tieflings in here. We'll go with a larger tiefling. Let's randomize her appearance. There you go. Isn't she lovely? All right, so there you go. She's going to hang out there, and we're going to take a look at the various different classes. So we have Barbarian, and we'll start with that, and we'll just go through them all, and then we'll go into other stuff. What is details? What does that mean? Oh, it tells us our proficiencies based directly off of that. Oh, that's cool. All right, so Barbarian. The strong embrace the wild that hides inside. Keen instincts, primal physicality, and most of all, an unbridled, unquenchable rage. You guys know about barbarians. They are unquenchable with their rage. Speaking of rage, we have rage as our action. And what does rage do? While raging, you are stronger and you deal 2 extra damage with melee and improvised weapons. And when throwing objects, I'm going to hit T, and it's going to bring up more information here. You have resistance to physical damage and advantage on strength checks and saving throws. Your rage will last 10 turns. Rage ends early if you don't attack an enemy or take damage each turn. You can't cast or concentrate on spells while raging. It is a bonus action. And wait, rage is once per long rest? Really? I thought rage was just something you could always do. Huh. Well, apologies again, guys and gals. I know a decent amount of stuff, but not everything. So there's still going to be things that I'm going to be surprised by. All right, and then unarmored defense. While not wearing armor, you add your Constitution modifier to your armor class. Wearing heavy armor impedes your rage. So you do want to stay with it, like medium armor is probably the biggest and best you want to go. You could even run light armor if you wanted, but medium should be the top. And then we have details here, where it shows us the proficiencies that we get directly from barbarians, which are simple weapons, martial weapons. We got light armor, medium armor, and shields. I don't think you should be a barbarian with a shield, but I digress. Let me know if anybody has run some epic campaign with a barbarian with a shield and how much fun everybody made of them. Just curious. Just curious. It's like a rogue with a shield. And everybody should get that reference if they watch Divinity Original Sin 2. All right, then we have our very flamboyant and flair for the dramatic, the Bard here. Bard, you know, music is more than a fancy. What? A fancy, okay. It is power. Through study and adventure, you have mastered song, speech, and the magic within. All right, so as a bard, you immediately get the cantrip of Vicious Mockery and Blade Ward. Vicious Mockery is 1d4 of psychic damage. Insult a creature, it has disadvantage on its next attack roll. Very cool. Blade Ward, Abjuration cantrip. Take only half the damage from bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing attacks. That is an action. This is also an action. This is based off of a wisdom save. Then spells. Healing Word. That's an evocation spell 1d4 plus 3 of healing, which would mean 4 to 7 healing. That makes perfect sense. Yep. Heal a creature that you can see. It's great. Doesn't work on undead or constructs. Dissonant Whispers. I know we're going to be going into a lot of spells and stuff as we go. I'm going to try to cover some as we go along right now. And then later on, hopefully, we're just going to be picking and choosing a few that we haven't covered yet. All right, Dissonant Whispers is an enchantment spell. It's 3 to 18 damage. That's 3d6 of psychic damage. Frighten a creature. It will be easier to hit, and it cannot move. It looks like it will last for 2 turns. I want to see if I can hover over it. That's the frightened. Okay. On save, target still takes half the damage, which is pretty cool. Wisdom save there. It's a level 1 spell slot thing. And this is an action, while this healing word is a bonus action. Then we have Tasha's hideous laughter. It's an enchantment spell. Leave a creature prone with laughter without the ability to get up. That's kind of funny. For 10 turns. Oh my god, that is terrifying and hilarious. The target creature must have an intelligence of 5 or more. The target can try to shake off the effects each time it takes damage. It's a concentration spell. It is an action versus wisdom save. And then we have Heroism. It's a level 1 enchantment. It is also an action, level 1 spell slot. Make yourself or a target immune to frighten and gain 5 temporary hit points each turn. It lasts for 10 turns, and you can only have temporary hit points from a single source. That's actually pretty cool. So you get 5 temporary hit points each turn. So if you're only going to walk in and take like 4 or 5 damage on something, you can put that on there, and like each time you might get smacked if you can't defend yourself, or they roll and they hit you. But basically they're just going to be eating temporary hit points that don't matter. That's pretty strong. I'm also theory crafting what I can do in the future, just so you guys know, with like the various different skills and spells and abilities. So, Bardic Inspiration. This is the class action. Inspire an ally to add a 1d6 bonus to their next attack roll, ability check, or saving throw. It's once per long rest is what it looks like. It's a bonus action. It is Bardic Inspiration. And class feature, we have level 1 spell slots. You gain 2 spell slots at level 1, which are restored on a long rest. Okay. And then the details here. Our proficiencies as a bard are simple weapons, hand crossbows, long swords, rapiers, and short swords. And we can do light armor. We move on to the cleric. And the cleric details are as follows at the end. We're gonna try to stay the same all the way through. Sorry. I'm just like, details stayed up and it threw me off. I'm like, why am I seeing details? Head going to explode. Alright. Clerics are representatives of the gods they worship, wielding potent divine magic for good or ill. The cantrips that the clerics have are resistance. Make a target more resistance to spell effects and conditions. It receives a 1d4 bonus to saving throws for 10 turns. It also gets guidance. The target gains a 1d4 bonus to ability checks for 10 turns, which is very, very powerful. And Sacred Flame. It is 1d8, but it's 1d8 damage, 1d8 of radiant damage. Engulf the target in a flame-like radiance, and it is radiant damage. It is an action. In fact, all three of these are actions. They are cantrips, which means that they can be cast indefinitely. They don't have charges. You don't have to rest to get them back, so you can just keep casting cantrips. But the vast majority, if not all of cantrips, seem to be actions, so they're not bonus actions. I think there might be a few exceptions, but I don't think we've run across them yet. And as you guys see, we have the Tiefling, the sub-race, and then we have the clerics selected right now. I told you that this is kind of the summary of your character. You'll see here we have the Produce Flame, which is from our sub-race, or the Tiefling in and of itself. And then we also have these three cantrips as well. So that's kind of cool that it does keep track of that. Then over here we have Guiding Bolt, which is just incredible. Sorry. It does 4d6 of radiant damage, or 4 to 24 damage. And the next attack roll against this target has advantage. That's really, really strong. We didn't really do Healing Word, did we? Maybe we did. This is an action. Healing Word is a bonus action. It's 1d4 plus 3. Yes, we have done that one. Inflict Wounds. It's 3d10 of necrotic damage. That's 3 to 30 damage. Putrefy. A creature with necrotic energy filling your hands. It is a melee attack, and it is an action. The Shield of Faith. A level 1 abjuration spell. Protect a creature from attacks by increasing its armor class by 2. That will last until long rest. So you can actually oh wow, that's actually incredible. I did not know that. So the way the game works, from what I've seen, is we get 2 short rests for free, and then we can do a long rest where we have to go back to camp and we have to use supplies in order to do long rest. Our camp is like a pocket dimension, which is a little bit weird, but it's fine. But this lasts until a long rest, so you could technically put this on your entire party and then do short rests in between to replenish your spells. There's a lot of application that can be done here, but and I think people are going to try to correct me on this because I don't know how this works. It is a concentration spell, and I think you can only have one of those active at a time. So I don't think you can do it to your whole party. If anybody knows 100% for sure, please correct me down below in the comment section. Please let me know, because again, I am trying to learn and understand as much as I can as I go too. All right, we have Bane, level 1 enchantment spell. Up to 3 creatures receive a -1 or -1d4 penalty to attack rolls and saving throws. Does it have an area? And this is a concentration and an action within 9 meters. This is within 18 meters. So I don't think you can have both Shield of Faith and Bane out at the same time, whereas all the rest are direct attack things. All right, class features. You gain 2 level 1 spell slots, which are restored on long rest. That's at level 1. They go up as you level. Domain spells. You gain spells from your domain. They are always prepared. Oh, cool. And finally, we'll go back to our details. Weapons, simple weapons, morning stars, and light armor, medium armor, and shields are the cleric's details. And we're going to go to Druid now. All right, I had to take a breather there for a second. All right, Druids. Druids channel the elemental forces of nature and share a deep kinship with animals. Mastery of wild shape allows them to transform into beasts from all over the realms. Druids are cool. I like Druids a lot. I don't know. I mean, like there's just all these classes have their own things that are very, very cool about them. So I would love to play all of them, but you can't. All right, Shillelagh. It's a transmutation cantrip. Your staff or club becomes magical. It deals 4 to 11 bludgeoning damage, and it uses your spell casting ability for attack rolls. It lasts for 10 turns. It is a bonus action, which is very cool. Thorn Whip, transmutation cantrip, 1d6 of damage, pulls the creature 3 meters closer to you. The target can't be pulled if it is huge in size. I'm curious if, hold on, I'm curious if that would change if, like, you were a halfling. Nope, doesn't seem to matter at all. That's pretty cool. All right. Right. What are we doing? We're druids. Right. Sorry. Just, it was interesting, right? Like, if you were a smaller race, maybe you wouldn't have the same pull power, but apparently only huge creatures are fine. Okay. Are immune. Again, we get 2 spell levels. Sorry, 2 spell slots for level 1 spells. We have Ice Knife, which is 3 to 22 damage. That is 1d10 of piercing damage and then 2d6 of cold damage. So it's mixing up a little bit there with what's available. The spell can be cast whilst you are silenced. That's interesting. On miss, the ice shard of ice still explodes. Oh, hold on. This is even more impressive. Hold on, we'll listen to this. So you throw a shard of ice that deals the piercing damage. It then explodes and deals the cold damage, the 2 to 12, the 2d6 of cold damage, to anyone nearby, and it leaves ice. It leaves an ice surface, so people will slip and fall. That's actually really cool. That is an AoE spell, deceptively an AoE spell. That's a sneaky one. That's cool. It's very cool. Thunder Wave, 2 to 16 damage or 2d8 of thunder damage. Release a wave of thunderous force that pushes away all creatures and objects. Unsaved targets will still take half damage. It's not bad. Cure Wounds, we've already been over that. This is 1d8 plus 3. We have Healing Word, which is the 1d4 plus 3. That's the one that we've seen. This is the better variant of it. Healing Word is bonus action. Cure Wounds is not a bonus action, but an actual action. And the rest of these are also actions. And then finally, Enhanced Leap. Triple a creature's jumping distance. That's within melee range for 10 turns. That's cool. Very, very cool. And finally, they become proficient with clubs, daggers, javelins, maces, quarterstaves, scimitars, sickles, spears, light armor, medium armor, and shields. We move on over to the fighter, probably the simplest of the group. I like it. I like the fighting stance there. That's good. It's good. A little neck crack there. Yeah, we'll shake it out in the shoulder. No? Okay. Fighters have mastered the art of combat, wielding weapons with unmatched skill and wearing armor like a second skin. And they get the ability of Second Wind, which essentially is 2 to 11 healing or a 1d10 plus 1. Draw on your stamina to heal yourself. It's a bonus action. Does it come back on once per turn? Oh my god. Really? So you can just do that every turn as a bonus action? That's fascinating. Stamina might be like, maybe they have a stamina bar and that's how that works. I don't know. But if that's usable every turn just for free, you just get a free 2 to 11 healing. That's incredible. All right, so what can the fighter use? Simple weapons, martial weapons, light, medium, heavy armor, and shields. Pretty much everything. They could use just about everything. Then we have the monk, a very cool class as well. You see the eyes there? That was incredible. Let's watch it again. Watch the eyes. When the light came through, I don't know. I thought it was cool. All right, the monk. Channel your cosmic enlightenment by deftly dodging and efficiently disassembling your foes through stunning strikes in a whirlwind of martial arts attacks. We got ourselves the Flurry of Blows as a class action. It's 8 to 14 damage, or 1d4 plus 3 of bludgeoning, and 1d4 plus 3 of bludgeoning a second time. One for each fist, most assuredly. So essentially, it's 2d plus 6. Yeah, 2d plus 6, essentially. Sorry, it's 2d4 plus 6. I missed a number there. 2d4 plus 6 of bludgeoning damage. Punch twice in quick succession. Melee. Its bonus action uses key points. Fascinating. All right, Ki. Ki is the magic that flows through all living beings. You can use it to exceed your body's physical capabilities. We also get unarmored defense. Reflexes are as effective as any armor. While not wearing armor, you add your wisdom modifier to your armor class. Wisdom is your second highest stat, tied with Constitution. Okay. Dexterous attacks. Attacks with monk weapons and unarmed attacks scale with your dexterity instead of your strength, if your dexterity is higher, which it should be. Deft strikes. Attacks with monk weapons and unarmed strikes deal an additional 1 to 4 damage, bludgeoning damage, unless their normal damage is higher. That's okay. Sure. Martial arts. Bonus unarmed strike. After making an attack with a monk weapon or while unarmed, you make another unarmed attack as a bonus action. That's pretty sweet. All right, then we have the paladin, or the old paladin, as it were. Hold on. Going back to the monks. They know simple weapons and short swords, apparently. All right. Fueled by the oath you swore to uphold justice and righteousness, you are a beacon of hope in dark times. Yes, I am. So we get the class action of Lay on Hands as a paladin. It's for healing. Use your Blessed Touch to heal a creature or cure it of all diseases and poisons. And it uses a Lay on Hand charge. We also get Divine Sense. It's a bonus action. Gain advantage on attack rolls against Celestials, Fiends, and Undead. Very cool. And Channel Oath charges 1. You gain the ability to channel the power contained in your Paladin Oath, which you can use to fuel certain actions. Now, we're going through the base classes right now. We're going to have to go back through afterward, and we're going to have to take a look at the various subclasses of the other classes that we have available. But we're going to get there. Bit by bit, piece by piece, we're going to get there. All right, we got our Rangers. Oh, sorry. I forgot again. Paladin, we're going to take a quick peek here. Proficiencies, simple weapons, martial weapons, light armor, medium armor, heavy armor, and shields. Fuel, we already did that. So now we're going to the Ranger. Rangers are unrivaled scouts and trackers, honing a deep connection with nature in order to hunt their favored prey. Human, the favored prey. All right, so they get the cantrip of True Strike. Gain advantage on your next attack roll. It is an action. It is a concentration action. And it lasts for 2 turns. It doesn't seem all that good, to be honest. But, what do I know? And Beast Tamer. Find familiar. Summon a familiar, a face spirit that takes an animal form of your choosing. Splooch, my father, actually. When we played Neverwinter Nights, we played it together. He played a ranger. He had a bear, I believe it was, as his animal companion. So he was we played together. I was a dwarven barbarian, and he was I want to say human or an elven ranger, and he had a bear as his animal, his familiar, his pet, if you will. Simple weapons, martial weapons, light and medium armor, and shields. Then we go over here to Rouge, or Rogues. With stealth, skill, and uncanny reflexes, Rogues' versatility lets them get the upper hand in almost any situation. Rogues have sneak attack with melee, 1d6 of slashing damage. Deal extra damage to a foe you have advantage against. Also works if you have an ally within 1.5 meter of the target and you don't have disadvantage. That's interesting. Okay. And then sneak attack range, same thing. Exactly the same thing. So it's for either ranged or melee. And these are actual actions that you do. Okay. Simple weapons, hand crossbows, long swords, rapiers, short swords, and light armor. Move on to the sorcerer. Sorcerers are natural spellcasters drawing on inherent magic from a gift or a bloodline. And they have Bone Chill, which is it's 18 meters away. Okay, I thought it was a touch attack. 1d8 of necrotic damage. Prevent the target from healing until your next turn. An undead target receives disadvantage on attack rolls. Acid Splash, 1d6 of acid damage. Throw a bubble of acid that deals damage to each creature it hits. I forgot the word two. It's fine. Throw a bubble of acid that damages... No, I guess damages. I read it wrong. I didn't see the S. Damages each creature it hits. Got it. So, touche. I found your skillful thing. And it's fine. Anyway, gain advantage on your next attack roll. True Strike. We're aware of that one. Light, until long rest, only affects one target at a time. Infuse the target with an aura of light. Cool. Then for some spells, those were all cantrips. All of them took actions. None of them had bonus actions, or were bonus actions. The Chromatic Orb. It's 3d8 of thunder. Hurl a sphere that deals 3 to 24 thunder damage and possibly creates a surface on impact. Alternatively, choose a different type of damage. Okay. And then Magic Missile, everybody's favorite. It's 3d4 plus 3. That's 6 to 15 damage of force damage. Shoot 3 magical darts, each dealing 2 to 5 force damage. They will always hit their target. You cannot save or avoid or any of that. You can oftentimes target the same target 3 times or split it up amongst 3 or 2 or whatever you want to do. So, very cool spell. Very, 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 very useful. If you just need guaranteed damage, that's how you do it. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe somebody can correct me in the comment section here. But I believe the difference between a sorcerer and a wizard is the sorcerer will have spell slots, but I think they have to specifically memorize a spell. I might have this backwards too. Specifically memorize a spell. So let's say like Firebolt, for instance. Or let's just say Magic Missile, for instance. They have to then learn Magic Missile charges. So they have 2 charges. And they have to learn Magic Missile, or they can learn like one of each, right? And then when they cast it, and then that charge is expended. So if there's 2, then you can cast it twice. Whereas with most other spellcasters, maybe it's a warlock, I don't know. But with most other spellcasters, when you have spell slots, you're actually able to pull from any of your pool of spells as long as it's in that level. So like say you had 5 level 1 spells. You could have like a Cure Wounds. You could have, I don't know, Magic Missile and Melf's Acid Arrow. I don't know, whatever. Something like that, right? You could pull any of those and use them. And once you did it, you used one of your spell slots that you had available for that. And then you do another spell. It could be a different one. You'd use a different spell slot. I think that's how that works. I think we covered everything, pretty much. Yeah, Chromatic Orb. Yeah, we did. Sorry. Wife called. We are having family problem today, so hospital stuff, not good. It's fine. It's okay. It is okay. It's just extra information stuff to delay things. All right. So proficiency: daggers, quarterstaves, light, crossbow. Cool. Sorcerer, pretty much down the line. Do let me know. Once again, I'm going to reiterate if it's sorcerer, wizard, warlock, which one has the thing I was talking about, where you have spells that you learn the spell charges versus having a spell slot that you can use any of the spells that you know in. It might be the warlock. We might learn about this as we go. Oh, it might be this right here. I don't know. I'm very curious because I don't remember playing a warlock, but I remember a sorcerer had that. That's what my mind is going back to with Neverwinter Nights. So, bound by a pact to an all-powerful patron, warlocks trade their loyalty for supernatural abilities and unique magic. All right, Eldritch Blast. We're going to close that for right now. Eldritch Blast, 1d10 of force damage. Conjure 1 beam of crackling energy. It doesn't say it can't miss, so still inferior to arcane, to magic missiles. Blade Ward, we already learned about. You only take half damage from bludgeoning, piercing, slashing attacks. I believe that was part of one of the race's subclass. And then you gain Warlock spell slots. Why there's no extra info there? It's fine. Okay, and then we go over here, simple weapons, light armor, and then finally the wizard. There's going to be a whole bunch of information, guys and gals. We got a lot of stuff to still go through, but I'm here for it. I am here for it. Wizards master the arcane by specializing in individual schools of magic, combining their ancient spells with modern research. All right, they get 3 cantrips, Firebolt, 1d10 of fire damage. Mage Hand we already learned about, and Ray of Frost is 1d8 of cold damage, and it also reduces the target's movement speed by 3 meters. Remember, most characters, most creatures and things have a default, like the default is 9 meters of movement. Shorter, stubbier creatures have, 7.5, and then other things are obviously going to have more. Probably animals are going to have more because they're on 4 legs, and so on and so forth. All right, the spells we have are Mage Armor. Protect a target from attack. Increase its armor class to 13 plus its dexterity modifier. This is until long rest. Target cannot be wearing armor. That's interesting. And they do have dexterity as their 3rd highest stat. Interesting. It is an action. It doesn't say it's a concentration skill either, which is cool. Fog Cloud. The cloud blinds and heavily obscures creatures within it. It's a concentration spell. Okay. Grease. Cover the ground in grease, slowing creatures within and possibly making them fall under. But it's against a dex save. It lasts for 4 minutes, I think, or that's 4 meters. No, it's 18 meters. It lasts for 4 minutes or 10 turns, or I don't know. I don't know what the 4M is down there. Hold on. Maybe if we hit T, we can go. Oh, it's an area of effect of 4 meters. That makes sense. I should have known that. I was thinking that in my head, and I'm like, that is it though? Yeah, it is. All right, Thunder Wave. Evocation 2 to 16. That's 2d8 of thunder. Release a wave. Thunder pushes everything away. We know that one. Sleep puts a creature into a magical slumber. Select targets up to a combined 24 hit points. Really? So you can put 2 creatures to sleep for 10 turns. Oh, okay. But they wake up upon taking damage, and they're out. Sorry, 2 creatures with 10 hit points you can put to sleep. I'm guessing that lasts for 2 turns, and they wake up upon taking damage. And of course, magic missile. Is Melf's acid arrow not a thing anymore? I don't know. We'll see. Arcane recovery. Replenish spell slots while out of combat. You cannot restore spell slots above the 5th level. And then this is an arcane recovery charge, and it's an action, which I assume we have a few of those. But it doesn't tell us here how many we would have. All right, so we've kind of gone through everything. Let's go here real quick. And I just kind of want to take a look. There's background. We'll go through the background as well in a minute, but I want to go through the classes now. We have cantrips, starting instrument. All right, so this is where we get to break down extra classes and stuff. So the cantrips, we're allowed to select 2. Well, maybe they just changed it all together, because this is... Yeah, okay, so this is... You have selected spells, and then, but you could use any of this, something like that. It doesn't matter. Anyway, cantrips. Change your cantrips. Oh, wait. Do we look at the daggers, quarterstaffs, light crossbows? There we go. I don't know that we had done that or not yet. All right. We're back here. We'll get rid of that. Cantrips. Here are the cantrips. These are just the ones that we're showing. Mage Hand, True Strike. We've seen that. Friends. Gain advantage on charisma checks against non-hostile creature. The spell can be cast while you're silenced. In higher difficulty modes, the target might accuse you of enchanting them. Huh. So this is to make them like you more, I think. That's what it seems like. Dancing lights we already are aware of. Light, same thing. This is an aura. This is something that just kind of floats around for 10 turns. And then Mirror Illusions, one of the cantrips we have not checked out yet. Create an illusion that compels nearby enemy creatures to investigate. You can remain hidden while casting this spell. And it can also be cast while you're silenced. Very cool. And then we get to look at the tier 1 spells here, or the level 1 spells. Animal Friendship. Convince a beast to not attack you. The creature must have an intelligence of 3 or less. Condition ends early if you or an ally hurts the target. And higher difficulties, the target might become hostile when the spell ends. Cool. Bane, we've seen. Charm person. Charm a humanoid to prevent it from attacking you. You gain advantage on charisma checks in a dialogue. Enemies have advantage on saving throws against being charmed. Condition ends early if the ally, or if you or ally hurts the target. And higher level, they might accuse you of enchanting. That makes sense. We cure wounds, disguise self. This is the bigger one with the 1d8 plus 3. Disguise self, magically change all aspects of your appearance. Dissonant whispers. So maybe you could even do that to like perform crimes and then turn back and not be. I don't know. It's a thought. Dissonant whispers we know about. Fairy fire. I'm thinking of my days in World of Warcraft. Fairy fire. That was good times as a bear, mind you. Also, I think in Warcraft 3, maybe? Yeah, anyway. All targets within the light turn visible, and attack rolls against them have advantage. Oh, nice. And it's... you can cast it up to 18 away. It doesn't tell us how big the AoE is, though, which is interesting. Maybe it cast on, and then there's an AoE? I don't know how that works. It'd be interesting to see. Featherfall. You and nearby allies gain immunity to falling damage. Oh, that's sick. Okay. Healing Word is the lesser one, the 1d4 plus 3. Heroism, we've already covered. Long Strider, increase a character's or creature's movement speed by 3 meters. So instead of 9, you'd be at 12. We learned about Sleep, Speak with Animals, we know. Tasha's Hideous Laughter was fantastic, and Thunderwave. Those are what we've all covered. Our starting instrument, we have a violin. I'm not going to go into all the small details. A lyre, a lute, a flute, and a hand drum. And I don't know that that changes anything other than just like what you have. You can see it on our back there. Violin, the flute. I like how it kind of changes the music playing in the background. Anyway. And then we go into backgrounds and abilities. But we're going to back out of that for now. We're going to go over to Cleric. We're going to look at the Cleric cantrips. Thaumaturgy, we already checked that out. Sacred Flame we did. Guidance, Resilience, Light we already know about. Blade Ward we know about. And Produce Flame. This, I think we know about from one of the... Yeah, it's a cantrip that we have. From our racial thing. So... now we can learn about subclasses here and deities. So, life domain, light domain, trickery domain, knowledge domain, nature, tempest, and war. Life. The life domain is an aspect of many good deities, offering spells that protect and restore the mind, body, and soul. We learn cure wounds and bless. Okay, and Disciple of Life, your devotion empowers your healing spells. When casting a healing spell, the target regains additional hit points equal to 2 plus the level's spell. Nice. And we get the proficiency of heavy armor. Here we learn the light cantrip. We learn Burning Hands and Fairy Fire. Burning Hands, 3 to 18 damage, 3d6 of fire damage. Each flammable target is hit with 3 to 18 fire damage. It's an AoE, maybe a cone even, 5 meters. On save, target still takes half damage. It's always prepared. And our feature is shield yourself with Divine Light using your reaction to impose disadvantage on an attacker, possibly causing their attack to miss. Huh, nice. Okay. The Trickery Domain. Oh, sorry. The The light domain is offered by deities of justice, majesty, and primordial flame, producing spells and that dispel darkness and harm the undead. Trickery domain, a domain shared by wicked, chaotic, and mischievous deities alike. Those who channel trickery specialize in deception and illusion magic. By the way, there's something I've noticed throughout all of our character creation and everything else. There is nothing that makes you choose your alignment. There is no chaotic evil or lawful good or true neutral or chaotic neutral or any of that. Huh. I don't know why I hadn't noticed that until now, but surprise. I think maybe subconsciously I knew and it just came back to the forefront here, but weird. Blessing of the Trickster. Grant another creature advantage on stealth checks. It only affects one target at a time, melee and concentration. Got it. Charm person, we know, and disguise self, we know as well. Knowledge domain, adaptable and adroit in all manner of languages and skills. Your mind is an intellectual cup brimming with exquisite knowing. Cool. All right, we get command. Command a creature to flee, move closer, freeze, drop to the ground, or drop its weapon. Sounds useful. Sleep, we know of sleep. Nature domain, you embody the vast viridian power of the natural world. An avatar of the subtle divinity of fruitfall. Avian migration, woodland silence, and the landslide's roaring fury. We've been at this for over an hour, so you guys know I'm losing my mind slightly. But I am enjoying this. So we know about Shillelagh, we know about Speak with Animals and Animal Friendship. Yep. And here's a subclass feature. You learn a druid cantrip and become proficient in animal handling, nature, or survival. And we also learn about heavy armor proficiency. Tempest domain, your faith has made you the very thunder that quakes the black firmament, the lightning coursing through the veins of a terrible storm. So, of course, Thunderwave and Fog Cloud, yep, and Wrath of the Storm. Strike back at an attacking creature, potentially dealing 2 to 16 lightning damage on a failed saving throw. You deal half of a 2 to 16 damage roll. Okay. And martial weapons and heavy armor. And finally, War Domain. Fortified by holy zeal, you brandish an arsenal of sacramental savagery to use against those who you deem unrighteous. All right, we got Divine Favor. Your weapon deals an additional 1 to 4 radiant damage. And Shield of Faith. Protect a creature from attacks. Increase its armor class by 2. And War Priest. When you make an unarmed or weapon attack, you can spend a War Priest charge to make an additional attack as a bonus action. And you get heavy armor and martial weapons as a choice. And then finally, we're going to go here to our prepare spells. Interesting. Here to the deities. There's a whole bunch of deities to go through here. Surprise, we're back again. That's right. More interruptions. But Selune, the Lady of Silver, presides over the moon, stars, and navigation. Her power over the heavens is constantly challenged by her sister Shar, who seeks to plunge the world into eternal shadow. Bahamut. The angel of the seven heavens is the dragon god of justice. His ideals of mercy and just authority keep him locked in an inexorable rivalry with his sister Tiamat. Tempest is the lord of battles, overseeing war and its soldiers. He is the embodiment of honorable combat and condemns needless bloodlust. Tyr, the blind god, rules over law and justice, encouraging valiant acts from his followers and relentlessly pursuing oathbreakers. Helm, the Watcher, is an eternal sentry amongst the gods, representing guardians across the plains. After more than a century of fading worship, Helm's power was restored with the second Sundry. Ilmata, I have no idea. The crying god protects the oppressed and persecuted. His clergy is sworn to alleviate suffering, even if that means taking on the pain personally. Maestra, or Mistra, As the mother of all magic, Maestra oversees the weave and spreads arcane knowledge to mortal spellcasters. Her clerics preserve ancient lore and protect bastions of magical energy. Ogma is the god of inspiration and invention, sharing knowledge with the world through his bards and clerics. Unlike many other deities, Ogma accepts all mortal alignments into his clergy. The first and only mention of alignments that I'm aware of. Unless I've missed something entirely. Kalimvor. Fair but distant, Kalimvor guides the dead to their appropriate plane in the afterlife. His clergy provides last rites across Faerû, but also destroys undead that have escaped Kalimvor's judgment. Moradin. The Allhammer is a dwarven god worshipped by smiths, artisans, and miners alike. He and Laduguer are constantly at odds. Corellin Larethian. Creator of elves, Corellin Larethian oversees the elven pantheon as a whole, providing blessings to those who study art, magic, and nature. Glittergold. The watchful protector is the king of gnomish gods, a deity of humor, gem-cutting, protection, and trickery. Yandala. As the mother of the halfling pantheon, Yandala is known for her kindness and open mind, encouraging her followers to protect home, hearth, and nature. Loth, the much reviled matriarch of the Drow pantheon. Loth holds sway over spiders, the Underdark, and the wicked creatures of the Demon Web pits. Her primary goal is to corrupt all Drow, transforming them into heartless cultists, or heartless cult? I don't know. Cultlist? I got nothing. Grumsh. The one-eyed is the Orcs' patron deity. A god of war, conquest, and victory at all costs, he has held an ancient and immutable grudge against the elven pantheon since Corellin Larethian took his eye. Tiamat the Many-Maud is a roiling mass of avarice and hate currently trapped within the Nine Hells. The dragon god of greed eternally plots her escape, as do her many fanatics in the world of Toril. We have Elistrae? Strae? I have no idea. Is the goddess of good, aligned to drow, beauty, song, and freedom. I will try to look up some of these names so I have at least a small idea of how they are actually pronounced in the future. Apologies for not doing that ahead of time. We're already pretty deep into this. So, the Dark Maiden desires balance between all races and struggles against her mother Lolth's corrupted aims. Corrupt aims? Sure, whatever. Lathander. The Morning Lord is the god of the dawn and spring, of birth and beginnings. He is invoked to christen both new ventures and new life. His followers embrace growth and renewal, despising all undead. Talos. Talos represents the uncaring and destructive force of nature. His followers see life as a set of random effects in a sea of chaos, and take what they can, for who can say when Talos will strike next? Tymora. Tymora is the bright-faced goddess of fortune who favors those who gamble and set out on adventure with the utmost skill and daring. And Miyaliki, or Myaliki, or Miyaliki, or something along those lines, is the goddess of forests and lollipops, and creatures that live within them. She is a remote and spiritual deity, often spoken of in, but the quietest of forests. All right, we're going to hop on down to prepared spells. So we prepare spells, but I think we could cast Healing Word 4 times here. I think that's how this works with a cleric. If we were, or 2 times, I suppose. We have all these spells available to us, but we can cast any of them for however many slots we have. So say we had 5 level 1 spell slots. We could technically cast all of these once and then Healing Word twice, or Healing Word 5 times if we wanted. I believe that's how a cleric works, but we'll see. All right. Shield of Faith, armor class +2, protection from good and evil. We haven't seen this one yet. That is Protect an ally against the attacks and powers of aberrations, celestials, elementals, fae, fiends, and undead. The target can't be charmed, frightened, or possessed by them, and when these creatures attack it, they have disadvantage. Cool. Sanctuary, you or an ally cannot be targeted until you attack or harm a creature. You can still take damage from area spells until the affected entity attacks or harms another creature. It cannot be targeted by enemy attacks, however, it can still be damaged by spells from a larger area of influence. So it's literally the same thing twice. That's fine. We know of Bane, we know of Command, we know of Guiding Bolt, we know of Healing Word, and Inflict Wounds. Yep. That works for me. Oh, also create or destroy water. I didn't know this one. Call forth rain or destroy a water-based surface. Ah, interesting. All right, we're going back to class. We're going to Druid. We're going to cantrips. Guidance we know. Poison spray. Project a puff of noxious gas. 1 to 12. Poison damage 1d12. 3 meters. Produce flame we know. Resistance. Make. Yep, we know that one. Shillelagh and Thorn Whip. We're well aware. We're going to go down to prepared spells and see. We know about Ice Knife. Entangles new. Create a vine surface slowing down creatures, possibly entangling them. Okay, this is the Cloud. Speak with animals, animal friendship, charm person, thunder wave, healing word. That's the 1d4 plus 3. This is the 1d8 plus 3. Fairy fire, enhanced leap, long strider. Goodberry, this is new. Level 1 transmutation spell, 4 to 16 healing, 4d4. Conjure 4 magical berries into your or a companion's inventory. Creatures who eat a berry regain 1 to 4 hit points. Berries disappear after a long rest. That's interesting. And, of course, the create water or destroy water. We're going back up to class. We're going to fighter. Apparently, there's fighting styles. Oh, nice. Adopt a particular style of fighting as your specialty. So, archery, defense, dueling. Oh, there's information about these. You gain +2 bonus to ranged weapon attacks. 1 bonus to armor class while wearing armor. Dueling, when you are wielding a melee weapon that is not two-handed or versatile in one hand and no weapon in the other, you will deal an additional 2 damage with that weapon. Great weapon fighting, when you roll a 1 or 2 on a damage die for an attack with a two-handed melee weapon, that die is rerolled once. We have protection. When you have a shield, impose disadvantage on an attack against your allies when you are within 1.5 meters. You must be able to see the attacker. Very, very useful. And 2 weapon fighting. When you make an attack with your offhand weapon, you can add your ability modifier to the damage of the attack. Very, very cool. All right, looks like we're going on over to the monk. Hey, we're the monk. All right, nothing. We're going over to the Paladin. All right, Paladin has its subclass, the Oath of the Ancients, of Devotion, and of Vengeance. You fight on the side of light in the cosmic struggle against darkness to preserve the sanctity of life and the beauty of nature. Healing Radiance. Heal yourself and your nearby allies for 5 hit points. Regain 5 additional hit points the next turn. No effect on undead or constructs, and it uses one of our channeled Oath charges. It's a bonus action. And subclass, Oath of the Ancients Tenets. Oath of the Ancient Paladins abide by the following tenets. Kindle the light through acts of kindness and kindle the light of hope in the bleakest hollows of despair. Shelter the light. Where love blooms, stand against the devilry that would snip its stem. Preserve your own light. Delight in culture and small joys to preserve the light in your own heart. Then we have the Oath of Devotion. Follow the ideal of the knight in shining armor. You act with honor and virtue to protect the weak and pursue the greater good. Holy Rebuke. Grant an ally a vengeance aura that deals 1 to 4 radiant damage to anyone who hits them with a melee attack. Lasts for 2 turns. And our tenets are Courage. Stride dauntlessly into action. Compassion. Show clemency when prudent and lend your arm to those in need. And Duty. Tend your responsibilities, obey just laws, and support those entrusted into your care. And finally, Oath of Vengeance. You have set aside even your own purity to right wrongs and deliver justice to those who have committed the most grievous sins. And here we have the Inquisitor's Might. You or an ally's weapon attacks deal an additional 2 radiant damage and can daze enemies for 1 turn. And our tenets are as follows. Fight the greater evil, exerting your wisdom. Identify the higher morality in any given situation or instance, and fight for it. No mercy for the wicked. Chasten those who dole out their villainy by wiping their blight from the world forever. Cool. And it doesn't look like we have any choice of spells there. The Rangere, or the Ranger. Favored enemy. Okay. Let's do some more randomization here. I'll switch races here in a minute as well. After this one. Sure. Old grandma there. Studying the tactics and abilities of certain creatures have granted you a set of abilities that is useful in a variety of situations. So the Bounty Hunter, you gain proficiency in investigation. Creatures you hit with an ensnaring strike, either ranged or melee, have disadvantage on their saving throw. I think I need to click these. Find familiar. We can summon our familiar. Okay, cool. Or summon an animal that would act as a familiar. Got it. Keeper of the Veil. You specialize in hunting creatures from other planes of existence. You gain proficiency in Arcana and can cast protection from good and evil. Can I see what Arcana is? It's just a skill check, I guess. +1 to it. All right. Protection from good and evil, and find familiar again. Mage Breaker. Okay, we have proficiency in Arcana and can cast True Strike. Night Ranger. You have sworn to serve a crown or nation and seek to bring its foes to ruin. Gain skill proficiency in history and armor proficiency with heavy armor, and we get find familiar. And finally, the old Sanctified Stalker. It's a passive feature. You swore to hunt the enemies of a holy or druidic order. You gain proficiency in religion and can cast Sacred Flame. And of course, you're find familiar. And then we have all of these. These are years of traveling in the wild to make you particularly attuned to beasts or adept at surviving in certain environments. We have Beast Tamer, Urban Tracker, Wasteland. All right, a whole bunch of stuff here. Wait, hold on. Do these change based on... They don't seem to, maybe? No? Nope. All right, so Beast Tamer. Let's see what we got here. You have cultivated a strong bond with animals. You can cast Find Familiar without expending a spell slot. Super useful. An expert at navigating the wild within the city. You gain proficiency in Sleight of Hand. You have spent endless days surviving desolate tundras. You gain resistance to cold damage. Forbidding deserts, resistance to fire damage, and fetid swamps, resistance to poison. All right, cool. Let's change our race to the dwarfs. Do we want to go with the female dwarves here? I'm waiting to see the bearded female dwarf. She doesn't exist, apparently. I will say they could have made the dwarves look I don't know. I'm not real thrilled at how the dwarves look. Most of the other ones have been pretty good, but eh. All right. So going back to class, we're going to Rouge. Nothing to do with the Rouge. We got Sorcerer. We're going to check the cantrips. I think most of these we've already seen, but let's go over. Blade Ward, we know. Acid Splash, 1d6 of acid damage. Mage Hand, we know. Poison Spray is a cone in front, the noxious gas. True Strike, we know. Friends. No Dancing Lights. Firebolt. Light. Ray of Frost. Shocking Grasp. I think that might be new. Target cannot use reactions. This spell has advantage on creatures with metal armor. 1d8 of lightning damage. Mirror or Minor Illusion. Yep, I think I said Mirror Illusion before. It was Minor Illusion. And Bone Chill. Prevent them from healing. Yeah, we know that one. All right, so that's all pretty by the book. Now we have spells. Choose the spells you know from the list below. Spells require spell slots to cast unless the feature states otherwise. So if I get rid of that and I hit this... Okay, nope, it's not like a... Alright, let's take a look. Burning Hands. Each flame will target 3d6 of fire. Targets still take half damage. Okay. Charm Person, we're aware. Chromatic Orb. Color Spray. Blind creatures up to a combined of 33 hit points. That is a spray and a cone in front of you, if I recall correctly. Sky Self. Expeditious Retreat. Gain dash immediately as a bonus action and each of your turns until the spell ends. Sorry, on each of your turns. Lasts until a long rest. That's cool. False Life. Gain 7 temporary hit points until long rest. Featherfall, we know. Fog Cloud, we know. Ice Knife. Enhanced Leap. Mage Armor. Yep. Magic Missile. Ray of Sickness. Okay, this is new. Possibly poison the target and do 2d8 of poison damage. And the poison lasts for 2 turns. Shield, when you are about to be hit by an enemy, increase the armor class by 5. You take no damage from Magic Missile. Huh, that's a reaction spell. Fascinating. We have Sleep. We know about Thunderwave, and Witch Bolt is also new. 1d12 or 1 to 12 lightning damage. Link yourself to a target with a bolt of lightning. Deal an additional 1 to 12 lightning damage each turn by activating it. Huh, it's a concentration. Lasts for 10 turns. That sounds like it's got a lot of potential. Alright, then we have subclasses here. Wait, those are cantrips and spells we did. Okay, now subclasses: Wild Magic, Draconic Bloodline, and Storm Sorcery. Your powers come from ancient forces of chaos. They churn within you, waiting to burst free at any time. And we get Tides of Chaos. Activate to gain advantage on your next attack roll, ability check, or saving throw. Increased chance of Wild Magic Surge afterward, and let's see what that means. Unruly magic sparks and fizzles through your veins. For sorcerers, each time you cast a spell of level 1 or higher, your magic might surge and trigger a random magical effect. For barbarians, each time you rage, a random magical effect will trigger. Huh. Well, that seems potentially dangerous or incredibly good. Oh, stems from the forces of chaos. It turns within the sorcerers that wield it, waiting to burst free. The Draconic Bloodline. Your veins carry draconic magic, the result of a powerful dragon ancestor. Draconic Resilience hit points, so you get 1 maximum. Your hit points maximum increases by 1 for each sorcerer level. And dragon-like scales cover parts of your skin. When you aren't wearing armor, your base armor class is 13. Huh, neat. And finally, Storm Sorcery. Whether crackling with energy of ancient deluges or pierced by gales and hurricanes, your lineage is a strange tapestry scrawled by a tempest. Tempestuous, there we go. Magic. After you cast a level 1 spell or higher, you can fly as a bonus action. Huh. Until the end of your turn without receiving opportunity attacks. That sounds incredible. Really good. Alright. We'll go to half-elf warlock. And boom. Boom. There we go. Isn't she lovely? Right. Cantrips. Blade, Bone, Eldridge, Friends, Mage Hand, Minor, Poison. Yep, we know all those. We'll do the spells first, then we'll go back to the subclass. I wonder if the subclass changes the spells. I should check that. Doesn't look like it did. No, it doesn't. Alright. So, we have Armor of Gathes. Gain 5 temporary hit points and deal 5 cold damage to any creature that hits you with a melee attack. Okay. That lasts, can only have temporary hit points from one source. It lasts until long rest. Arms of Hadar. 2 to 12 damage, 2 to 6 necrotic damage, or 2d6 necrotic damage. Prevent targets from using reaction. On save, target still takes half damage but are able to use reactions. Okay. Burning Hands, we're aware of. Charm Person, Command, Expeditious Retreat. Hellish Rebuke is new. 2d20, that's, sorry, 2 to 20 damage, 2d10 fire, and it's delayed. React to your next attacker with flames that deal 2 to 20 fire damage. On save, they still take half damage. Hex, that's new. 1 to 6 damage, 1d6 of necrotic conditional damage. Don't know what that means. Make your attacks deal an additional 1 to 6 necrotic damage to the target and give it disadvantage or an ability of your choosing. Okay. If the target dies before the spell ends, you can hex a new creature without expending a spell slot. Huh. Interesting. Protection from Good, Evil, and Witch Bolt. We know those. Alright, subclass, the Fiend. Warlocks in service of fiends work towards corrupting destructive ends, intentionally or otherwise, and receive hellish blessings in turn. The armor and the hex, and Dark One's blessing. When you reduce a hostile creature to 0 hit points, this gift from your patron grants you 4 temporary hit points. Oh. The Great Old One. Warlocks bound to eldritch beings in the far realm work towards inscrutable goals, gaining strange powers over entropy and the mind. Dissonant Whispers and Tasha's Hideous Laughter. And of course, Mortal Reminder is our cool subclass feature. When you land a critical hit against a creature, that creature and any nearby enemies must succeed a wisdom saving throw or become frightened until the end of their next turn. Finally, the Archfey. Graced by a lady or lord of the Fey, you are imbued with all the sumptuous and scary qualities of your patron's extraordinary realm. Okay, Fairy Fire, Sleep, and Fey Presence. Charm or frighten nearby foes with Fey Wild's beguiling, disturbing magics. Huh. Okay, cool. Do we look at all the spells? I think we did. We looked at all the cantrips. I think we did. And now we're going to go look at the new class. And it's going to be the Wizard. The old wizard. But we're going to do it with a drow wizard because of reasons. It's going to be a large man drow wizard. Oh my goodness, what happened to the skin? They're drow, they're supposed to be dark skinned. Well, I think that was worse than what he originally looked like, but that's okay. Cantrips. Acid Splash, Bone Chill, Firebolt, Poison Spray, Shocking, Blade, Friends, Dancing Light, Mage Hand, Minor Illusion, and True Strike. Know all of those. We have covered them already. 6 spells. Choose the spells you know from the list below. Spells require spell slots to cast unless the feature states otherwise. Nope. Still not the way. So, it must have changed since the days of old. It does not look like there's anyone who needs to have multiple numbers of spells in a row. And I'm sure people will probably screamed at me 100 times in the comments. Sorry I didn't get to see the comments before the video finished, but, you know. If somebody can at least tell me... Again, Neverwinter Nights, long time ago, right? Like 20 years ago or something like that. It is quite a while ago. Had the spell slot thing. I remember specifically with that. So, was there a Dungeons and Dragons rule set that changed how that worked? Because unless I'm absolutely insane, I'm pretty sure that's how it worked. So please, someone let me know when that changed. All right, let's take a look at the skills. So, Burning Hands, Charm Person, Chromatic Orb, Color Spray, Disguise Self, Expeditious Retreat, False Life, Feather Fall, False Life, yeah, okay. Magic Missile, Mage Armor, Long Strider, Enhanced Sleep, Ice Knife, Grease, Fog, Cloud, Find Familiar, Protection from Good and Evil, Ray of Sickness, Shield. When you're about to be hit, okay. Sleep, Tasha's Hideous Laughter, Thunder Wave, and Witch Bolt. Also, that's the same era that I'm talking about in Neverwinter Nights is when Melf's Acid Arrow was like a level 1 spell. It's clearly not a spell anymore because I don't see it. So, someone, if they have the time, feel free to explain it because I would love to know. So those are spells. Then we have prepare spells. What does that mean? You can only cast from a limited selection of spells at a time. Select which spells you have prepared from the total list of spells you know. Spells must be prepared outside of battle. So I learned these 6 spells, whatever spells I choose, but then I can only prepare these 4? Huh. Well, that's a little bit weird, but I'm sure we could see that in action and it would make sense right away. All right, folks, I believe we have done it. We have accomplished the unaccomplishable. We have looked at all the spells, all the cantrips, all the classes, subclasses, everything except for backgrounds and abilities at this point. So let's get through the last little bit, and then we'll be done, and you guys can enjoy this super long video. If I hope this helps some folks. I hope you guys enjoyed going on this adventure with me. And I know I've asked a lot of questions, some of them probably pretty stupid, but feel free, seriously, guys. I'd love this to be like a font of knowledge beyond just me looking at what the game says, but like people in the know, people that are really good at the game, that have played the game, that whether it's this or just Dungeons and Dragons as a whole, just kind of share your experience and your thoughts, and let's help everybody that wants to be helped with the comments. So that is my dream there. All right, we're gonna go with the backgrounds next. So there are 4, 8, that'd be 11. So there are 11 different backgrounds that you can go. And these backgrounds are going to give us a variety of different skills. So right now we're looking at the Acolyte. The Acolyte, and we're going to read all this. It's going to give us insight and religion. Wisdom +2 and religion or intelligence +5. So it's based off of, I'm gonna guess. Oh, hold on, let me change the class. So let's get one that's a little bit more wisdom based. Okay, here we go. Wisdom based would be like a cleric or a druid, right? So it is based off of your stats, what kind of plus that you get to it. So here we have 17 wisdom, we're going to get the +5, but we have lower intelligence at 8, so we're only going to get a +1. That went off the rails quickly. You guys will, through the power of editing, you won't get to hear it, but it's fine. You have spent your life, take 2. You have spent your life in service to a temple, learning sacred rites and providing sacrifices to the god or gods you worship. Serving the gods and discovering their sacred works will guide you to greatness. And again, insight and religion. The Charlatan. You're an expert in manipulation, prone to exaggeration, and more than happy to profit from it. Bending the truth and turning allies against each other will lead to greater success down the road. And we get deception and sleight of hand, which is nice, giving us a +3 and a +2 based off of our charisma and dexterity. Again, this is based directly off of your stats. Criminal. You have a history of breaking the law. All right, and survive by leveraging less than lethal connections, or legal connections. Profiting from criminal enterprise will lead to greater opportunities in the future. Deception and stealth. Entertainer, you live to sway and subvert your audience, engaging common crowds and high society alike. Preserving art and bringing joy to the hapless and downtrodden heightens your charismatic aura. And we got acrobatics and performance. Folk hero, you're a champion of the common people, challenging tyrants and monsters to protect the helpless. Saving innocents in imminent danger will make your legend grow. Animal handling and survival. We are a guild artisan. Your skill in a particular craft has earned you membership in a mercantile guild, offering privileges and protection while engaging in your art. Repairing and discovering rare crafts will bring new inspiration, insight, and persuasion. We're looking at noble now. You were raised in a family amongst the most social elite, accustomed to power and privilege, accumulating renown, power, And loyalty will raise your status. History and persuasion. Outlander, you grow up in the wilds, learning to survive far from the comforts of civilization. Surviving unusual hazards of the wild will enhance your prowess and understanding. You get athletics and survival there. Sage, you are curious and well-read, with an unending thirst for knowledge. Learning about rare lore of the world will inspire you to put this knowledge to greater purpose. Arcana and history. Soldier, you are trained in battlefield tactics and combat, having served in a militia, mercenary company, or officer corps. Show smart tactics and bravery on the battlefield to enhance your prowess, athletics, and intimidation. And finally, the urchin. After surviving a poor and bleak childhood, you know how to make the most out of very little. Using your street smarts bolsters your spirit for the journey ahead. Sleight of hand and stealth. And finally, ladies and gents, we're looking at the abilities, which is essentially just our various different stats, but we'll go through these as we do. And it looks like we have 27 points that we can plop in and use in any amalgamation, with I think the lowest being 8 and the highest being 17. So that's pretty much it. So you can clear this out and change this to whatever you want. If you specifically know exactly how you want to play and you want to min-max your build and do all the cool stuff, and you're like, I want to be, what are we currently? A cleric with no strength but all constitution and wisdom. Yeah, and charisma. And I'm also, that's it. That's all I want. You're probably not going to do super well, but you have those options. And then down here, we're going to use the recommended though. It's fine. Down here, you also have your skill proficiencies: sleight of hand, stealth, religion, medicine, and perception. That's based off of all the various things that you've done up to this point. But if you didn't like exactly how all that ended up, you can still go and change and choose specifically what you wanted. If you did not want, for instance, what do we have? Hold on. All the ones with the question mark, granted from race, stealth, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Maybe you don't want stealth. May customize your proficiency. Wait. Oh, okay. There's few things that we can change. Since this is inherited from the background, and from race, you can only change the things that were granted through, like, maybe subclasses or whatever. So, like, if you don't want religion, you could take that off, and then you can go with, like, history, for instance. Or if you want a religion, you don't want medicine, you go down to persuasion, and so on and so forth. So there's a little bit of wiggle room there. If you want to, again, min-max stuff, you can absolutely do that. And that's pretty much it, guys and gals. Again, there's quite a bit. We'll look at the appearances and stuff like that as well. We've been randomizing the appearance, but you can definitely go into the editing of the appearance. You have the 4 different body types. We're like super zoomed in. Let's zoom out a little bit. There we go. Where did the body? Oh, we scrolled. I see. Then you have the larger feminine and the larger masculine. And then you can identify as female or male or non-binary and other. So you got a lot of different options there available to you. You can hear the voice.
Where to next?
Let's hope the locals are friendly.
Hells.
Be wary.
It's opened.
More of those wretched things.
There's magic keeping.
Where to next?
That's
What
cool.
was that?
So they went through and they did 8 voices. Probably 4 male, 4 female. And then you have various different heads, and then from there you can break it out into various body art. You can break it out into color eyes you want. Let's go with the purple. You can go with the makeup style. You get some facial hair. Okay, apparently she can't have facial hair, but bam, look at that. Isn't that lovely? And the hair color and everything else. So, like I said, I'm not gonna. To me, this part of it is fine. I don't think me going through every single hairstyle and everything else is going to necessarily excite anyone. It might. A lot of people really like to spend a tremendous amount of time creating their characters and making them as gorgeous or scary or hideous as possible. And good on you guys for doing so. I appreciate the fact that people do like to spend the time and doing all that. But again, for me, I don't particularly care too much about what my character looks like. I still spend a little bit of time, but in general, you know. Again, facial hair, makeup. It's just for the eyes, and then you can change the color of the makeup. I mean, there's a lot of customization here. So I do like that you can actually really make the character into, you know, what you want it to be. So I think that's fun. Lip color intensity, that's maybe a little bit much. There we go. See, isn't she beautiful? I think she's beautiful. And that's pretty much it. And then if you wanted is it heterochromia? Allows different eye colors. If you wanted one to be purple, one to be like red, you can totally do that. All eye colors, and then you can go into even more detail. But yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff with the character creation, the voice, the head. You have scarring, you have your skin tone. It's kind of hidden. Maturity is, I suppose, different age. You see, like, neck wrinkles are coming in here. Her face is painted. You can see some of the wrinkles. You can get some freckles. Again, probably not great. And the intensity. Can't really tell. I don't know what this even means. Oh, okay. Okay. So people with the unfortunate skin pigment thing, yeah, that tracks. That's a thing. I did not know. What is it? Vitiligo? I apologize. I never heard the actual name for that. So that is an option. A lot of cool stuff. A lot of cool stuff that you can do. You can make the character exactly the way you want it, and very much your own. You can go back to editing the character. And yeah, when you're done, you get your totality over here, all the cantrips that you learned, and all the various different weapons and armors throughout all of your classes and your races and everything else that you got, that you've gone throughout, along with all your skills as well. So, all right, through the power of editing, because I forgot to do this because I got distracted by other shiny things, we're going to go through each of the stats real quick and put it somewhere in place so it makes sense. And then, yeah, stuff will be great. It's going to be good. It's going to be wonderful. All right, strength. Muscles and physical power affects your effectiveness with melee weapons, also determines how far you can jump and how much you can carry. So, higher strength, good for punching and hitting stuff. Dexterity, agility, reflexes, and balance affects your effectiveness. It's great. With ranged and finesse weapons, also affects your initiative and armor class. So a higher dex means you move quicker. Constitution is stamina and physical endurance. It affects your hit point maximum. And I think you get saving throw bonuses and stuff as well. Let's see here. Does it say? Plus, well, okay, you just get saving throws. That's fine. All right, so then we go to intelligence. Memory and mental power improves spellcasting for wizards. We have wisdom, which senses and intuition improves spellcasting for clerics, druids, and rangers. And finally, charisma. Force of personality improves spellcasting for bards, paladins, sorcerers, warlocks, and it influences traders' prices. So there you have it. Very, very cool. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to here, and we're going to see what the introduction is.
Hello, darling. Don't be shy. I promise not to bite until we've been formally introduced. My name's Astarion, and I've spent a century stalking the night, hunting for pretty morsels just like you. A man called Cazador made me what I am, kept me like a pet, forced me to do his bidding. No more. The Tadpole's influence broke his dominance over me, and now I can finally pursue the one thing I've hungered for these long, dark years. Revenge. I'm going back to Baldur's Gate to track Cazador down in his lair. I'll be the last thing the bastard ever sees.
Uh-huh. I really think he meant Cheez-Its. The one thing he's always wanted was Cheez-Its. So yeah, this is how we'll close it out. We'll see each of these introductions, and it's going to be great. I'm going to maybe leave Lae'zel for last. Let's meet Gale.
Well met, stranger. You find yourself in the presence of the renowned wizarding prodigy, Gale of Waterdeep. Please, no need to be intimidated. My virtuosic talents once caught the eye of the goddess of magic herself, Mistra, who named me her chosen, and her lover. Thanks to a slight miscalculation on my part, that relationship eventually soured, as did the greatest of my powers. Now I'm merely a humble wizard on the road to redemption. Unless I can find the path to something greater.
There you have it. Okay, Gale, thanks. Shadowheart. She likes me. She does not like the Colonel.
My name is Shadowheart, loyal servant of Shar, goddess of darkness and loss. There is little more I can tell you than that. My Lady Shar tasked me with a mission of such secrecy that I surrendered great swathes of my memory in order to safeguard the knowledge of it. All I know is that I must bring the artifact I hold to Baldur's Gate, and that nothing can stand in my way. My goddess is watching.
And she is armed with a D20. All right, we got Will.
"7 years ago, I was exiled from Baldur's Gate, the city I call home. My name is Will, but the people of the Sword Coast call me the Blade of Frontiers, champion of the meek, defender of the innocent. The truth isn't quite so simple, but they're right about one thing. I hunt monsters, and I always catch my prey. My latest target is a devil, and I'm right on her tail. Once I'm through with her, she'll never escape the fires of the first hell."
Cool. Very long mouthful of a name. I think they all just call you Will. I see it. Speaking of the devil. Sup, Karlach?
"10 years ago, I was sold to the Archdevil Zariel. She put a hellfire engine in my chest and made me her prize soldier. But I've escaped now. Thank you, Mind Flayers. And I've got a few scores to settle. If this engine doesn't burn me to ash first, I'll need people I can trust. An infernal mechanic, and a serious amount of luck. But you know what? I'm not worried. After 10 years in the Hells, I can take on anything. I've got my chance at freedom, and believe me, I'm going home."
Cool. All right. And then I guess the Dark Urge? I don't know if we get an introduction for the Dark Urge, but we'll check them out. Apparently we do.
My rancid blood whispers to me, kill, kill, and kill again.
Mine too, buddy.
My ruined body yearns to reap death in this world. And when this foul urge calls, it possesses my whole being.
Did they read my biography? This sounds familiar.
Injured, beyond repair. I know nothing besides this. I must resist the dark urge, lest it consume my mind. I must discover who I was and what happened to me before my twitching knife hand writes a tragedy in blood.
Yeah, that's a real problem, isn't it, buddy? Yeah, I you know, if we were going for, you know, most character like yourself, it does sound like me, very much. Or not, probably not. All right, and everybody's favorite girl. How the Grinchess didn't steal Christmas, but she's real angry. She's a real angry girl. But your favorite and mine, I don't know. I have no idea. It's Lae'zel, and we're gonna hear from her. She's super positive, always happy and uplifting. Never mean. What's up?
Since I was born in the cold reaches of world space, I have known but one purpose. To wield a silver sword and ride a red dragon in service of my regent, the Githyanki Queen Vlaakith. My first step on this path is to slay a mind flayer and bring its head to my queen. There is no flesh I will not carve, and no barrier I will not shatter to see it done. I am the one who sunders. I am the Undying Queen's most unshakable warrior. I am Lae'zel of Kalir.
Yeah, she is. And don't you ever forget it, folks. All right, I think my 2-hour epic is done. I hope you guys enjoyed. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff to cover. I don't really expect everyone to watch all the way through to the very end, but for those of you who did, thank you. Shout out to you folks. I don't know. Woozu 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 boozu in the comment section down below. How you spell that and what that means? Good luck. Don't put that's weird. Don't put it in the comment section down below. There's always a weird thing when people do that. Anyway, that's pretty much the whole thing, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for stopping by the Freak Show. Thanks for checking out the super long video. Again, I hope it helps to inform you on what characters you can make, what everything does, and kind of get your builds in your mind before you start, or helps you, I don't know, get interested in the game. Maybe have a better understanding of Dungeons and Dragons as a whole. Again, I'm still relatively new to the whole Dungeons and Dragons thing. I have played games in the past that have the rule set. All right, folks, I really hope you enjoy Baldur's Gate 3, not only my Let's Play of it, co-op with the others, but also just anybody else that you go and check out. Support the game. It is an incredible game already from what I played. These are incredible developers that actually care about their community, care about players, and they're not greedy, horrible people like a lot of developers and publishers are that you see. Just a quick nod and a wink to Larian, just to give you guys a rough idea of what I'm talking about. With Divinity Original Sin, they released the game, and they continue to work on it after release. They released it in a very playable, very good spot, but they felt like there was more they wanted to do. So they went and they spent the extra time to do the things that they wanted to do to bring the game to a level that they felt, this is what we wanted to show you guys. We gave you that. It's good. Everybody enjoyed it. But this is it. They added extra voice lines and music, like a whole bunch of stuff. Probably, I don't know if they enhanced the graphics, but just a whole bunch of stuff was improved. They released the Divinity Original Sin, the Definitive Edition. And everybody who owned Divinity Original Sin on PC, it might be on consoles now, but on PC, like on Steam, they all got the Definitive Edition upgrade for free. And I think you still have access to like the original one as well. So if you still wanted to play that, you could. So that's really cool. Most companies, almost all companies, don't do that. They did the exact same thing with Divinity Original Sin 2. So Larian has my vote always. I love them. They do great games. Like I said, I think Divinity Original Sin 2 is the greatest game ever made. I think by far and above, it is the best game I've ever played, and it is 100% the best game ever made, in my opinion. So 100% support Larian and all their stuff. I was super happy to see them get to do Baldur's Gate 3, get to work with Wizards of the Coast and Dungeons and Dragons rule set and world and universe. So I'm super stoked for this. I've been waiting for this for a very long time. I barely touched it in early access because I wanted the full experience, first hands-on and going through stuff. So I played through a little bit of the ship, and then I did nothing else after the ship crash, I think, is how it went with my early access play. So like maybe the first hour of the game is about all I had played. Now we're 4 hours in. I'm loving it. It's great, and I can't wait to play more. Anyway, I'm done talking for real this time. Thanks again for stopping by. I've been your host, Bumpy McSquigums. We play, we fight, we conquer.